YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy Buddha back in the building for another last Cloudia news and information video where we got information on Didi and the update that's coming with her. Now in this video we're going to take a look at Didi's animations, Tweacz' unit breakdown, and also some key details from the update that you're not going to want to miss. Congrats to everyone who speculated who this was going to be. I don't think I saw a single person saying it was going to be anyone other than Didi. So let's go ahead and check out her animations, kit details, and I'll give you my reaction. S1 Noxious Eclipse, there's that S1, 7 hits. Venomous Centipede is actually her S2. And then her S3 is Toxic Burial for 16 hits. Looks like centered around the unit. Wow, that's a lot of movement. This is a special which we did see from the battle in which we fight Didi. And there it is. 49 hits. Let's get into the traits over on Tweacz' unit summary breakdown for a much more in-depth look at what she's bringing. Don't forget this information can be found in the description of this video via Reddit. Shout out to Tweacz for always making these unit breakdowns for us to observe. We'll go ahead and blow it up so we can see all the details up close. Starting with the trait 1, Spinous Belladonna. Dark damage plus 40% and damage cap plus 3000. Battle start, give all enemies a cut poison resistance debuff. Dark damage to enemies with poison or deadly poison 30%, another damage cap 2000. When giving poisoned enemies poison again, you get another dark damage cap plus 200 up to 2000. This may actually be easier to do than it quite sounds, especially when there are multi-enemies in the wave that you're fighting. Trait 2, Phantasmal Veil. Duration of status ailments given by unit plus 25%. Damage taken from enemies with status ailments minus 20%. When taking an attack, cut damage based on number of debuffs on enemy up to 40% at 10 debuffs. I mean, I think all of us are thinking this is going to be Bowser's best friend. Nothing about magic casting in these traits other than the fact that I think her dark damage is universal, right? It's all types of damage, so you can make her a caster if you go out of your way, but definitely no emphasis on magic that I'm seeing here, more so ailments, but specifically poison. Looking at Tweacz' notes, he says the coolest thing here is the guaranteed poison resistance debuff at battle start, which could allow for some silly strats with poison. Reapplication of the poison ailments on already poisoned enemies for more cap. This may be pretty easy to achieve as it doesn't reset with each wave. Yes, looking at trait 2 notes, longer duration of status ailments is always good for an ailment abuser. Damage mitigation inflicted enemies minus 40% is massive if you can achieve that many debuffs. Gonna take a little extra work, but definitely a huge damage mitigation modifier. Moving into the ability, skill 1, Noxious Eclipse, 7 hits. Frontal medium area dark combo attack, chance to give enemy poison. Skill 2, Venomous Centipede, instantly close the gap from mid-range for a medium area dark combo attack. Cut enemy poison resistance as well. So this is probably just a reapplication of the unique debuff that she gives at the battle start. I doubt this is going to stack on top of that. That's 13 hits. Skill 3, Toxic Burial. Wide area dark combo attack around unit. Chance to give poison and or illness. That's going to be 16 hits. And her special Poison Bloom, 49 hits. Powerful dark combo attack to one enemy. Chance to give blind, silence, curse, and or deadly poison. Deadly poison seems to be this new lingo I haven't quite seen before or remember seeing, where this is like a double stack of poison, which may be a unique icon altogether from what I'm thinking. What is sad to me is that there is no rot in sight via her traits or her abilities here, which I thought was going to be guaranteed based on the in-battle experience, but just like I speculated, the in-battle experience before you have the unit as a playable character doesn't always indicate what exactly you can expect. Looking at the unlockable skills, starting with Resist Poison, all allies poison resistance +1, which removes poison weakness. I don't know why they felt the need to put that in brackets. Tweacz says full party poison res, which is interesting. Poison Drinker. When activated, momentarily cut unit's poison resistance, give unit poison. If already poisoned, give deadly poison. This is the spell you'll use to give her poison and deadly poison, increasing her damage. Yes, they stopped specifying whether these are actual passives or spells, but it's kind of easy to speculate when you start understanding the differentiations. Wormbane Hex. Give Curse and Spirit Riot to the enemy that defeats the unit once per wave. That'll be nice. Those are just one ailment and one debuff to the enemy, which helps with the synergy in her kit. Stinger, critical damage cap plus 3000 against enemies with poison or deadly poison. Chance for skill attacks to enemies with poison, deadly poison to insta-kill. Not the best translation there. Interested to see the chance for the insta-kill. Of course, that excludes bosses in arena. Wicked Toxification. When unit is poisoned, physical attack damage plus 15% and damage cap plus 1000. When unit is deadly poisoned, physical attack damage plus 25% and damage cap plus 3000. Again, just more off of this physical attack damage when the enemy is poisoned. So more leaning away from all dark damage and more into physical attacks, which I was so confident she was going to be an ailment mage, and yet no, she is an ailment PDPS, close range, very much the opposite. I'm sure we all have very similar thoughts on this, but debilitating poison. When giving poison, deadly poison, illness, chance to give debilitating poison debuff. Damage dealt minus 20%. Regularly take dark magic damage with gradually boosted power. Remove debuff if poison, deadly poison, or illness is healed. So very interesting debuff we got going on here. Does specify that this is a debuff, so it will not count as an ailment. However, it will contribute to her gimmicks that play off of debuffs altogether, meaning her damage mitigation. And it's actually quite crazy. If you have the full 10 debuffs, including this debilitating poison, you're looking at 40% damage mitigation onto the D plus a minus 20% damage dealt from the enemy that's attacking her. You're looking at a lot of debilitation onto the enemies with this girl, so it'll be very interesting to see how she synergizes with teams, specifically if you build them around poison ailment. Looking at skills that we already know: Arcane up 4, Critical up 3, Advanced Aim Vitals, Thrall of God, Claw Boost, Claw Mega Boost, Dark High Drive, Dark Attack Raise 3, Dark Critical Rage, Dual Wield Innately, Brute Slayer, and Special Boost, Terror Melt 2, Terror Jail, Poison Research, Illness Research, Corrosion Fang, Strong Remedy, Auto Haste, Auto Advance, Circles, Thaumaturgy Ring, Auto Heal, Decoy, God Heal, and Anula Melt. Don't let Arcane up confuse you. There is nothing in here that indicates that she will naturally be a dark magic caster. She doesn't even have a dark magic spell. If anything, what this kit tells us is that she is going to play off the INT stat to deal physical damage, especially when we're seeing those physical damage boosts when the enemy is poisoned, and when we see things like Thaumaturgy Ring. It's all about the physical damage. I wanted to look up Terror Jail, and I don't have it because it's on the Pantherbane Ark, but minus 10% received from enemies inflicted with ailments, so even more damage mitigation. This on top of her already 40%, you're looking at minus 50% all damage received, and then that debilitating poison doing minus 20% damage dealt. I think there's going to be some very interesting combos to see with this unit, plus other units that we have that focus around ailment and debuffing. Let's look at the innate dual wield physical damage caps that Tweacz has listed. If we don't have any of her ailment or specifically poison damage boosters active, it's looking like a measly 16,999. Now, this is dual wield, so you have to take that into account. If you're going to compare it to single wield, think of this number doubled. So you're looking at like a base 34,000 compared to like a Shift Bayland or a Shift Roland or Adel, and then 27,999 if you have everything active, which is more similar to like a 56k single wield hit. If you're going to compare to those types of units. But at the speed of which her animations looked and the fact that they're close range, I'm just not enamored with the thought of her being a physical DPS unit at all. If anything, I was talking with Tweacz, anyone who looks at this unit with the lens of physical damage dealer, you're going to be very disappointed, and I don't blame you at all. However, I think if you shift the perspective to seeing her as a damage enabler through status ailments with crazy debuff synergy with other units and team building, she becomes an entirely different unit to observe. And that's why I think noobs, like literally new players, will look at this kit and not really know and judge her probably in a light that she does not shine in. Let's see what Tweacz' summary says. A very interesting unit. She is part of the permanent gacha, a unit specialized in applying both poison, basic status ailment, and deadly poison, which I guess is what we consider venom, which is tier 2 ailment. Battle start poison resist debuff could be very useful for a while, as poison has always been the least defended against status ailment. Since a separate debuff, it will stack with a Nula Melth, and you will be able to drop enemies poison resist by -2 now. Synergizes very well with the Venacleave AER from the SSR Ark. Innate dual wield is great for an ailment spamming unit, there's no doubt about that. If I remember correctly from the story battle, her regular attack is melee range, which is not always conductive to effective ailment spam. Lacks Paranoia, a very useful passive for ailment spammers to gain SCT back in order to feed their skill spam. The only way to apply deadly poison is on her single target special. Why Adis? Seems like a very interesting unit that provides some utility for ailment enabling. Poison itself, while it enables, is not really a big debilitator of enemies when compared to things like blind, silence, curse, stun, and illness. Doesn't seem like the craziest damage output unit, as her skills are relatively slow. I am excited to test though, and we will see just how good she is soon. Of course, never expect to know how a unit's performance is before they are in game. That is the most noob mistake you can possibly make. We also got a new Ark, which, I mean, I gotta give them props on something that just looks so intimidating and badass. Antigod Samael is how you probably say that. Is an SSR, so it will be in the permanent pool. The Ark trait at max Ark level. Boost damage based on number of poisoned allies and enemies up to 30%, which is a nice multiplier. Poison resistance -2, but blind, curse, and stun resistance +1. I'm not mad at this, since poison, like Tweacz kind of laid out, isn't the most debilitating ailment out there, but you gain +1 resistance to blind, curse, and stun, which are very debilitating. It's not a horrible trade-off in my opinion. During status ailments, physical attack damage cap +1500. This plays directly into Diddy's love for poisoning herself. Yeah, no kidding. I think some people will get confused with if this is if the enemy has status ailments or if the unit has status ailments. As Tweacz is saying, he believes it is when your unit has, or the unit with this Ark has a status ailment, you'll get this physical attack damage cap. Learnable skills, we have poison counter during counter, chance to give poison, yuck. Poison power is interesting to me. Physical attack damage to poisoned enemies +30%. Tweacz says, I actually really like this for overall gameplay. Poison enabling for damage is very easy, especially with Diddy, as we see. Two-handed spear boost. Exciting to see. When only one weapon equipped is one spear. Physical attack and special damage +10%, and damage cap +3000. Yes, our first two-handed boost skill that's not involving swords, which is dope. Big fan of that. And then critical up, corrosion fang, and strong remedy are the other skills that comes with it. Definitely some cool skills to acquire from this Ark. The trait, not the most desirable thing at all, but you know, may find its niche uses, especially in places like Maze of Tartarus, when you lose an Ark after you use it. The Ark Ether Reward Carius Mephitis Spear is a 6-star dark spear. The trait physical attack damage +10% and damage to enemies with status ailments +20%. I'm not mad at that trait at all. Stats, strength 212, defense 46, and Tweacz says definitely a pretty strong weapon, especially if you have an ailment spammer on the team. So couldn't agree with that more. Definitely, I think a lot of confusion comes around for new players when a unit comes out with an Ark. This, while it has some benefits to using it on Diddy, it's not like an all-encompassing best-in-slot Ark for Diddy. Arks are rarely ever the best-in-slot for the unit they're released with. There are definitely some nice snags from this Ark, I think, for overall on any account. So really interesting character we have here. Like I said, I think many people are going to be annoyed. However, she is a permanent pool unit, which means there is no demand to summon for her. You may get her on an off-banner pool literally tomorrow. tomorrow when the game updates, if you summon on the Vayne banner, you might get her as an off-banner pool, because that's how permanent units work. So for free-to-play budget spenders, you let Diddy come to you, and you let Tweacz tell you how she is on tomorrow's Power Creep podcast. The November 10th maintenance note is actually bringing some surprise hype updates to talk about. I'm just going to go through and tell you everything that I think you should be aware of. As I mentioned, D is going to be available in the permanent crystal gacha. I was very shocked to see this, but very happy and welcome her as the 4th permanent unit that we've gotten this year. The daily free 10-spin gacha is being extended until the 23rd, and you can get another 100 spins off of this, so 10 multis essentially, which will be great for newer players or players that are lacking a lot of stuff in the permanent pool. I really like the stamps that we're getting from this event that she's bringing. Vaynes, we play on my time, and to D, thanks, no thanks. This is going to be a great, toxic stamp that I'm going to abuse a lot in multiplayer. A couple of the things that some people may have missed because they just didn't click the training promotions. Our daily mission crystal reward is actually getting doubled for this little time period from the 10th to the 24th. So we're going to be getting 40 crystals per daily mission completed, boosting it to 200 crystals a day, which was a super welcome surprise for me. It says they've added items to Friend Point trading space for a limited time. Not exactly sure what items they're talking about, so that'll be interesting to check out. It says the exchange rate is slightly better than normal, so definitely something to check first thing when you log in. And the last thing I want to point out is this new training event that's coming, Ether Field. Held once daily, gives you a guaranteed 10% boost to the Ark Ether for your Arks equipped in the party, which for new players, of course, is going to be very good for those who don't auto-farm, for those who haven't been playing for years and have Ethereum up the butthole. Definitely some interesting things going on with this update that I don't think many of us were expecting. I think I'm more excited for this update than the actual Vayne story update. Very interesting things coming with this update. Very unexpected, at least from me. Always love to see a little bit of QOL and be caught off guard with things like her being a permanent unit, the daily free 10 spin being extended, just nice little touches that we weren't expecting but can definitely appreciate. However, I still think the game needs to do a lot in order to ascend to true popularity, and I laid out 5 updates that I feel Last Cloudia needs to implement into the game in order to thrive rather than just survive. Make sure to check out that video if you haven't. Put a little TLC into it, so would love to see y'all's feedback there. But that's all I got for you this time, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and with all that being said, y'all know what we say: work hard, play harder. See you in the next video.